Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Doug.Show. My name is Doug Cunnington, and in this episode, I talked to my good friend, Matt Giovanisci. We're going to talk about a YouTube sort of project and experiment he's been working on, and we're going to drink beers. It's a thing that Matt and I do together. How are you, Matt?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Tell us about the beer that we're drinking right now.
Ooh, we are drinking Ellie's Brown from Avery, local Boulder spot. I was just telling you off air, this is a beer. I have this beer and I have the upslope version of their brown ale. And every time I drink them, I'm like, I need to drink more of this. But I only have one a year. Because it's like I just get one can somewhere, or I'm like, oh, this is so good. Or I get it at a, the place I have it and the time I have it the most is at ski resorts.
It's perfect for that.
Perfect.
And the reason why, this is a great beer, and I drink with the seasons often. So
you're a pumpkin beer drinker now?
We got a little, you know what? I experimented a lot with pumpkin beers back in the day, but this year I have not. I haven't had one. It got a little cooler, and I was at the beer store, and then I got basically a flight for us. So we have this. We have Black Butte Porter from Deschutes.
Yeah, Deschutes, yeah.
Another one of my favorites, and another local beer, Left Hand Milk Stout Nitro. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to drink all of these in the next few minutes, but we're going to do our best. So
yeah, we got all day.
For the people that don't know you at all, Matt, can you give a quick intro about who you are and what you do?
If you know me from anywhere, it's probably Money Lab, moneylab.co. It's a spot where I kind of talk. I do online business challenges, online experiments. Sometimes I write some articles here and there. I have a YouTube channel, got a podcast. And then that was all a byproduct of my flagship business, which is swimuniversity.com, which is where I've had that site since 2004, 2006. And I teach people how to take care of their pools and hot tubs.
Cool.
And I've been doing that forever. So it's like an authority site in the pool space and hot tub space.
Perfect. And when did you start Money Lab, by the way?
2015. Okay.
So, and you were doing Swim U for how many years before that?
Of course,
like a decade.
Since 2006. I bought the domain in 2004. Didn't actually do anything until 2006, and then went full time in 2011, and been doing it. Still doing it. Yeah.
Okay.
So for a long time.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So clearly an overnight success.
Yep. 17-year overnight success. Yep.
And you were getting traction. Things were going well. You started Money Lab, and you've dabbled, in different areas. Podcasting, YouTube. You blog as well, so people can learn a lot more about you. We'll put links so that you could check out those details, and you share a ton of information about Swim University, traffic, earnings, all those details, right?
Yeah, and Money Lab. I started it because I was so behind the scenes with Swim University. I wasn't out there talking about this stuff, and I kind of wanted to be, and I wanted to do other projects, not just in the pool space, but I've done stuff in coffee, I've done stuff in beer, so I just wanted to put it out there, and I like this stuff. Like, it's a hobby of mine, all of it. Marketing, building websites, video, all this stuff. And so I wanted a place to showcase that ability of mine to just basically not have a life and just do that full time.
And I just recognize the sort of niche that you're in. It's liquids. So you got swimming pools, you got hot tubs, beer, coffee. What's next? What other liquid can you go after?
Nothing. But I thought, I know that, and I know that I'm in liquids, and I know that I'm in science. And science meaning specifically chemistry, because technically there's chemistry in beer, and there's chemistry in coffee, and there's chemistry in pool care, and there's, I guess, chemistry in online business in a weird way. So I actually tried to rename my business at some point. My business is very simple. It's a stupid name it's Ace Media, and I chose it in 2008 when I officially started my LLC. And the only reason it's called that is because I just happen to collect decks of playing cards. I don't even do it anymore, but people know that about me, and they'll just like hey, I got this deck from whatever, wherever they traveled from, and I'm like, all right, stick it in the box. I don't know how to, like, I'm not good at cards. I don't do cardistry. I don't do magic, but I don't know. I always have a deck of cards on me or at my office. But yeah, I was going to name it like redox, which I think is like a chemical reaction. I don't know. It's something. I had to look it up and I couldn't figure it out. So I was like, forget it.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Long story short.
That's all right. That actually brings it all together and allows us to transition into this YouTube experiment. So you've done a lot of stuff, and can you kind of describe what the experiment was and the results? And you can tell us the results ahead of time, like up front, just as the hook here.
So the challenge was, it started as an idea before it became a challenge. The idea, I've been trying to figure out what to talk about. I wanted to create YouTube videos. And before I did this challenge, I had a live show, which you've been on, and it didn't do as well as I don't know. I kind of felt it wasn't working, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. And so I shut it down, and I was like, all right, I need to come up with another idea because this isn't working for me. It just has logistical issues, and it wasn't fun. It felt like a lot of work for very little payoff. And we, Steph and I are always, and Steph's my girlfriend, we always talk about just different business ideas whenever they come up. And I just kept saying, I always say this. I say this about podcasting and YouTube. It's like, I just wish I had an idea. I wish I knew like the format or like what to talk about, because I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. And I don't want, I kind of feel like it has to be epic. It has to be like polished and great. So I'm just like torn in this weird space, especially on online marketing. It's not, I don't feel that way in any other industry. It's just this one. I think it's because it's so near and dear to me. Like as a, it's the business that I actually operate in, and have peers and, and read content on and whatever. So Steph had this idea that was like, what if she's like, I think you should do website teardowns on YouTube. And I was like, why? She's like, well, because you do them in my community, and you do them for people. Like if somebody asks you to like critique their site, like you'll throw on Loom and you'll do it. She's like, I think people would really appreciate that and would like to see that. And I was like, I don't think people want to see that. I don't watch them. I know they exist, but I don't look at them. And I was like, all right, that's interesting. And I kind of just like, whatever. I kind of blew it off, to be honest. And so every Friday we have a happy hour with my pro community. And I brought it up. I brought the idea up. And I just watched everyone's face sort of like light up a little bit. Like, and they were like, that's an interesting idea. I was like, really? Who wants to see this? And so I was like, all right, I'll do one. I'll do one, throw it up on YouTube, see what happens. And, use Ecamm Live and, the same setup that I had for Money Lab Live. I didn't have a script. I had nothing. I just had a website to critique, threw on the camera, recorded it, didn't do it live. So I recorded it on Ecamm. And it was like 30 minutes of rambling. Like just I had nothing. I was just looking at the site for the first time, kind of critiquing it. I think it ended up being like 30 or 35 minutes, and uploaded it to YouTube. And I got a lot of positive comments. In fact, I got a comment from my friend who was not in this space, like texted me and said, hey, I just saw this video you posted. I like it, but you were rambly. Like he had a bunch of feedback. And I was like, okay. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to try this. I'm going to do a 31-day challenge in October where I'm going to publish a website critique or a website teardown every day of the month, every day of the week for the whole month. And my goal there was to, 1, grow the channel, and 2, make it as easy as possible on myself to just crank out daily videos and just see what happens. And without really having a plan, my plan with any Money Lab challenge is to make money. It's the reason it's called Money Lab. So there had to be at least that. That was really the only metric that I was measuring, was like channel growth and, what did it pay off? Is it worth my time to do?
Got it. Okay. So Steph had an idea, because you're Matt, and we're men. Sometimes when we hear an idea, we're like, no, that's a bad idea. So initially you thought, hey, that's a bad idea.
I just don't think no one would watch it. I'm like, who's going to watch this?
You pitched it to a couple people, a few people that were at the community happy hour for Money Lab Pro. They were like, hey, that seems like a good idea. And then off to the races. You started a little shaky. And then can you tell us like some of the results that you saw? And then we'll dig into the details, but just so people know like what happened.
Yeah, so there was a lot of like within the challenge, I made a lot of like not pivots, just adjustments, right? Because I kept the same format, and I just made it tighter and tighter and tighter. And there was a couple of points within the challenge that like I had spikes of like, oh, okay, I learned something. Now I'm going to go in that direction. In the end, I made, and I wrote this down, I made about $1,200, and only 200 of that came from YouTube advertising, which I ended up turning off on day 20. I just shut off advertising. I made about $202, and then I turned it off. And we can talk about that and why I did that. So $1,264.69 to be exact. That is a mix between ads. So basically the 200 is ads. And I started kind of halfway through the whole challenge selling a $24 workshop that was related to the content that I was putting out. And that was, I did not expect to do that. That wasn't part of the plan before I started the challenge. It was like, oh, it just, every time you post a video, you're like, I looked at the videos and I said, what can I do better? And so at a certain point, I think it was less than halfway through, I ended up hiring my assistant who works for me on all my businesses, very, very part-time, like a contractor. And I had her doing, so the videos would automatically get uploaded, but I would have her doing thumbnail design, just like chapters, like just general YouTube SEO stuff. And she charged me about $330 for the videos that she did, which was quite a bit. I would say like 3/4 of the videos. And so my net revenue was $933 for the month.
What would it have been, or what was it the previous month?
Nothing.
Okay. So
like $20 or something. Yeah, it was just ads. I had nothing up there.
Okay, so ads, and you weren't publishing very much.
I didn't publish at all in September.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So
I haven't published since I think June. I think June is when I stopped Money Lab Live.
Got it. Okay. Perfect. And you mentioned that you tried to do live streams before. And, I do live streams, and we chatted, and hopefully I didn't guide you in the wrong direction. I mean, you made your own decision.
Yeah.
I was like, I like them. I hate them for certain reasons, but I like them for other reasons.
Yeah. One
of the great things is people are a little more forgiving with a live stream, and they, if you
mess up,
if you misspeak or there's some technical issue, they're a little more forgiving. The other part is there's no post-production. You just publish it or you pull it down.
Right.
And I see what you did here. You created a workflow based on the live stream setup that made it very easy. So whenever I'm trying to do something, it's easy to make it so complicated. But usually if I could remove the hurdles, because otherwise, right, if I have to walk across the room to like get something, I'm like,
I'm not going to do that.
I don't know if I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And so how much did that like play into you being able to complete everything?
Which part? What do you mean?
The easy workflow.
It's ridiculously easy. It takes me 16 minutes to make a 15-minute video. And I only say that because the minute is literally just pulling up my form where people submit their websites and just picking one and then, making sure that the screen fits what it has to fit. And then my computer's always set up. My camera's always on. The light, I just flick on 2 lights and it's less than a minute. And then I'm literally hitting a record button. And then once I hit the record button, there's a prompt that comes up in Ecamm that's like upload to YouTube. And so I just type in a quick title, a quick 1 to 2 sentence description that can be changed later, and it's gone. It's uploaded unlisted. And then from there, my VA takes over and, adds the thumbnail and schedules it for a published date and adds a templated description that we have of my products and other links and stuff, and adds tags and end cards or end screens and all that stuff.
Got it. And what did you think was going to happen? And you mentioned a couple metrics that you were looking at for success, which was earning more money and doing better on YouTube. Can you talk about the metrics that you looked at YouTube as well? Because there's so many.
There's so many. I didn't really look. I mean, I obviously looked. I wasn't tracking to make it better, but I did gain 178 new subscribers in the month. And, whether that was from older videos or this, but it was, I was doing a blitz, but there was a couple of things that I noticed, that it wasn't a hard measurement. It was sort of like, you just feel it. I mean, there's data, but like, you can also go like, oh, okay. A couple of points were the comments. The comments were crazy positive, and I would ask for comments because I don't really do that in a lot of my other videos, but like this one, at the end I said like, hey, leave a comment, whatever, and the comments were just positive, like they're like, oh, this part was so great, this was so whatever, and I just went, okay, that's cool, that's a good sign. Like I wasn't getting negativity, so like oh, this guy sucks, whatever. Another one was there was certain videos. All right, I'll tell the one story that like completely shifted everything. It was one metric. I think I had done maybe 10 videos, right? And originally, I'm uploading them thinking I'm going to do YouTube SEO. And so in order to gain more subscribers, like that was my plan. And so I would do my first couple of videos were like how to build a keyword list and how to blah, blah, blah. Even though I wasn't technically showing you how to do that, I was critiquing a website that maybe did that poorly and then offered advice on how I would do it. But I would like cherry pick a moment and go like, all right, I'm going to title it a how-to video. And then we're going to kind of just hope that I rank for keyword research, which is an impossible for that style of video. And it kind of made me, I didn't like it because I was like, I'm being disingenuous. It's not clickbait necessarily, but it's disingenuous. So I was like, all right, well, I didn't have another strategy at the time. So I think it's like, I don't know which, I think it's like video number 8 or 10 or something. And at the end of every video, I'm asking people to submit via a form that I have. It's just like a URL that I created. And so people can submit their sites, and I get a ton of data on these sites, so I have some context when I'm looking at it. And this is before I had better questions. I had like kind of crappy questions. Just like, what's your site? How much do you make? What's your traffic like? And so the site comes in, and I don't even look at it. When I sit down, I pull up the next one in the queue and I hit the record button and I go. So I'm like looking at the site, and the first thing I talk about is branding. And I'm like, oh, this, I don't really understand this branding. And I'm like looking at the site. It's not like terrible looking at first, but I'm making fun of the like featured image. And as I start to get into it, like 5 minutes in, I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst site I've ever seen. Like this is unbelievably bad. And I just turned off the screen share and I looked directly down the barrel of the camera, and I'm just like, okay, this is not how to build an affiliate site. Let's talk about how we should do it differently, and just kind of went on to more of a rant about affiliate sites. And when I finished the recording, the prompt came up like to upload to YouTube, and in my head I'm like, just dump it. There's nothing there. It's nothing. But then I was like, well, I don't want to do it again. I don't want to do another one. So I just titled it, "This is the worst affiliate site I've ever seen." And that was my title because it was true. And I just said it, and I didn't know what else to put. That video just like hit. Like it just had a spike. And when I say a spike, and to be very clear, my average is around 300 views. This climbed to 800 views. So I was like, okay, whoa, that completely changed my titling process. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I have to create sensational titles. And then I went down a rabbit hole of like, thumbnail design, title theory, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And I learned a ton, and it works sometimes. It's not always great. But because I'm not doing SEO, I'm actually servicing my existing subscribers. So what I realize now in hindsight, I have to grow my YouTube channel outside of YouTube. The algorithm will work, but like not all the time. Yeah. In my favor because of the way that I do my videos. And I'm going to try different shows and see what happens. But that was so views are a metric that I look at, obviously, per video. Because I was like, why did that video do so well? Or why did that video tank? And it's clearly the title. It's always the title.
Title and thumbnail. Yeah.
Title and thumbnail. Every time.
Which lead to the click-through rate. And I'm sure that, played right hand in hand.
I did not look at it.
Look at your click-through rate too. And there's a strong correlation. Because the reason I didn't look at it was because I knew I wasn't changing the thumbnail design. And I was like, the system. Yeah.
Right. So in that moment, so I'm like, well, that's something that I relinquished and is no longer in my control. And I've set the stage because I'm the one that designed the original thumbnails and then set the stage of like how they would all go forward. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, well, I can control the titles, but I can't control the thumbnail. And so I didn't want to like step on her every single time I upload a video. And I'm like, changing thumbnails, and I'm doing a daily video. Like I don't.
Yeah. You could adapt along the way.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is you could like change the thumbnails. You could say, here's the new template.
Yeah.
Redo like 8 of these.
That's what we're doing. Okay. 100%. But I still don't think I'm going to pay too much attention to the thumbnail. My most important aspect is just branding. I want all the thumbnails to have a similar brand feel to them, so that when you see it, you know it as a true subscriber. And so I do have to work outside of YouTube to build that, which I'm okay with.
Okay. And so one other metric which would be interesting is basically like
a
subscribed, or no, not the retention is interesting, but the number of unsubscribed viewers. So that indicates you're reaching outside your subscriber base.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like the number of people who watch videos that are not subscribed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, you have a pretty good, how many subscribers do you have? Like
3165.
Okay, cool. And the thing is, you have, what'd you say, like roughly 10% of your subscriber base is the average number of views for a typical video, about 300.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So so when it goes beyond that 300, then most likely you're starting to get like people outside your normal audience.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. And then, I hate the clickbait headline style, like the thing you shouldn't be doing, but you're probably doing kind of thing, or you won't believe what happened when X.
But, I agree with you, but even I get sucked into it as a YouTube viewer. And who I studied was Mr. Beast. That was who, and Mr. Beast, you can find tweets from him about thumbnail design, and and the only reason I bring him up is because if there's anybody that I trust who understands the algorithm of YouTube, it's him. I believe that YouTube talks to him, like, hey, what should we do? But he has the most he has rules that he sets for his thumbnails. He has things that he talks about. And I tried to employ a lot of his techniques into my videos. Same with my other channels as well. And when you find out what they are, you're like, oh, that's it's nothing new. You see it on TV all the time. He didn't reinvent it. He just went, oh, this is what they want because he's done so many videos. So I'm going to keep doing that. His content is insane. No one can replicate it, but that's part of the magic.
Do you think he's at a level now where we can't take lessons from him as well, right? So if I do what Joe Rogan does on his podcast or his YouTube channel, it may or may not work because he's at a, magnitudes of a different level. And I'm not saying we can't learn from the masters, right? But is there some point where it's like, oh yeah, Mr. Beast is saying this, but you know what? He's playing in a different arena than we are.
I've seen him talk about this. He's helping small channels, personally, saying, hey, do this, because I've learned these things. His current videos, you can't look at his current videos. Well, I don't have $10,000 to give to a homeless person, so therefore I can't do what Mr. Beast does. And that's not the same. That's not the advice to take. That's not, you're kind of just seeing it at face value, and you're not learning what he's truly doing and what he's truly saying. And a lot of it is really, I'll just give you some of the ones that I've learned. One is, tell your viewers what to expect in the first 5 to 10 seconds. And I seconds don't matter. But if you start a video and you're just and you just get into the content and you don't set them up to be hey, stay till the end. You don't have to say stay till the end, but in this video, we're going to do blank, 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 and blank, and then get into it. That helps create audience retention. There's 2 metrics that he follows. The retention rate. So in his case, if you're not getting 70% retention, you're not doing it. You need more practice. You need to keep learning different things, which I took to heart because I'm that makes so much sense. What is YouTube's goal? Is to get you to watch videos. And if you watch 70% of a video, they're definitely serving that up in their algorithm to other people in that space. They're definitely going to do that for you. The other one is click-through rate, which you mentioned, is if you have an excellent title and an excellent thumbnail that gets people to click through and then retains them for 70%, you've beaten the algorithm. That's that's all YouTube wants, right? And so the question is, how do you do that? One of the hacks, or one of the tips, right? Because not everyone does it right, but one of the tips is just giving up front what it is to expect. The other one is keeping their attention throughout the entire video. The way that Mr. Beast does it is that he keeps changing the direction of the story. He keeps adding a monkey wrench. No, I shouldn't say that because it's not the right analogy, but he keeps adding a layer and now hey, we're doing this maze. Oh my God. All of a sudden a tree trunk falls. It's now you have to get around the tree trunk. And it's if you look at Squid Game, did you watch Squid Game?
We're only 1 episode in.
So I won't give too much away, but they employed the exact same strategy of
it's open loops.
It's open loops
again and again.
Yep.
Yeah.
That, that you want to see complete. It's why there's a great, I shouldn't say great. There's a YouTube channel that's good. I don't understand it, but they are in the pool space. They clean pools. This guy, Mr. Pool Guy, huge audience, cleans pools. You're how does he have a massive, millions of people? Because he's he's taking something and like you need as a person, we as humans just like have this desire to see it complete and like to restore order in the world. And so like that's what Jimmy or Mr. Beast explores with his videos, at least I think. And again, like he has rules for thumbnails. Like you should like no wasted space. Like every single inch of that thumbnail should be taken up by something, human faces, not a lot of text. Just it's also kind of a feel, but it's also like there is, you can see it when you see a good thumbnail, you're like, damn, that's a good thumbnail.
And I was talking to one of my VAs today, and I was like, got to make that face like fucking huge. Like it should take up the whole, like half, like 50% of the frame here. And then, 3-4 words on the other side. Mm-hmm. Of course, you could have maybe some stock image if it's relevant on the other side, but like, white space is not your friend.
White space is a waste of space in thumbnail design.
Or negative space, or whatever you call it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, perfect answer on that, by the way. So it's like you can still learn lessons. Yeah, I lobbed it up for you. Okay, what didn't go well? Obviously, a lot more views, some more subscribers than normal, but anything not go well where you were like, I did not anticipate this. I need to adjust.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Because in the beginning, I'm like, overall, it went well. I'm very pleased with it, all that stuff. In the beginning, I had a very bad intro, and I needed to fix that, which I did pretty quickly. Again, using the Mr. Beast mindset of like, in this video, we're talking about X, and let's get into it. I do a quick intro card that I made in After Effects. That was like a home improvement spoof, and then I didn't have anything to promote. So in the beginning, a lot of my videos I just promoted affiliate links when they came up. So like I would talk about, this affiliate link's kind of hidden, I can't see it, go to buy this product, or this website's super slow, I have an affiliate link for that, buy that. And I would just say like moneylab.co/rocket, moneylab.co, whatever. Not a great, I'm sure it led to sales or whatever. I'm sure it led to clicks, but nothing I could measure accurately because I don't know where they're, coming from. So that was like the first, like, okay, I need to promote something and I need to promote it hard and it needs to be the same thing every time. So immediately I thought, all right, well, I have like 5 courses and a WordPress theme. So I have a store of products on MoneyLab. So I said, okay, well, let me put up a card and I was only doing this at the end. I was put up a card that says like, hey, if you want any of my courses, just type in the promo code and you'll get 20% off. And that was like, I did that for a couple of videos. And then Steph was like, you need to front load that because, you're going to get some drop off, which is going to kill your retention rate a little bit. But like, you need to put that up front or at least somewhere sooner than the end, because the end is where the least amount of people are. And so I was like, okay. So I put it up front. And I did get 2 sales by having a promo code. It wasn't for my more expensive products. It was literally for my cheapest product. But then I thought, as a person, like, I don't want to go on your store and just like pick a course and just and get 20% off. Like, it's not a compelling offer. And I didn't have like anything else to offer that doesn't have my courses. I'm like, do I just offer? So then I thought, well, if somebody submits a website and they're having trouble with traffic, then pitch your SEO course in the beginning. If they're having trouble with page speed and the next one, pitch your page speed course. So like pick different courses, but then you don't have that repetition of the message on the video. And so I felt that wasn't going to work either. I was just going to spread the message thin, right? It's like if Geico, every commercial was just an offer for a different product of theirs. And you're like, what does Geico do? Because like you might have seen like 1 out of 10 commercials or 2 out of 16 commercials. And you're like, I think they only do motorcycles because you just happen to see the 2 motorcycle ads, right? they just pump you full of ads. So yeah, I had to change that. I ended up changing it to not offering anything for sale, just offering something for free, which I came up with like in the middle of the whole thing. And I came up with it because I was trying to figure out, well, everyone's struggling with something. What's something that I can offer that's related to what everyone's watching that feels like, oh, cool. Like he's giving me something. He's about to like shit on a website real bad, but he's got a solution up front if in case I have a website or whatever. So that's what went terribly for a long time. And honestly, this $1,200 that I made, I definitely could have made more if I had done it earlier.
Sure. Gotcha. And the opt-in lead magnet that you pitch in the front, I mean, it's a great one. It's like the perfect blog post or something.
Perfect. Yeah, it's the perfect post cheat sheet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I have the same lead magnet.
Really?
Which, I mean, the thing is, like,
I thought I was being original.
No, we're not doing anything original. And I did Teardowns like years ago.
Dude, you know what?
You could have just asked me.
The other two things. Wait on that. Just hold that thought, because on two things that happened to me recently. One, again trying to thinking I'm being original. I say I love you at the end of a lot of my emails to my audience.
Yeah.
And then I started. Somebody sent me a video from Noah Kagan, and he says I love you at the end of his videos. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I don't think he stole it from me. Think just I had a non-original idea. And then I used to have since I started Money Lab in 2015, I would say I would have a different middle name for myself every single time. My first middle name ever in every email and every podcast was "Oops, I Sat on a Cucumber." And I did that because I had a friend from like my childhood who said that, and it cracked me up so much. So I did that, and then I found out Miles Beckler does that. And I just like, it's not a steal. It's just like the same idea.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, those are direct things that you stole, but but like most things have been done before, and it's okay. Like, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I didn't have the original like ideas, but I was going to talk to you offline about the signing off with "I love you" in the emails.
Mm.
Seems needy. I don't know.
You don't like it?
I mean, you can mix it up.
I'm mixing it up.
Okay.
I say talk soon. I'll say like, yeah.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah. Whatever. Thanks. I don't know. But anyway, back on track here. I don't even remember what we were talking about. Okay. Yes, the opt-in.
The lead magnet.
Very good. Okay, so you adjusted along the way. And a couple like sort of final questions here. What's coming up? So you went through the challenge. Obviously, even though it only took like 15, 16 minutes per teardown.
Yeah, that came later too. That was another problem.
Oh, just cut it down and just like go faster.
They were just, because they were just like, these are too long.
Yeah.
And another thing that, if you look at Mr. Beast videos, they're 15 minutes.
I was going to say, I'm going to start. I mean, I've been, I do long form interviews typically, and I haven't been, honestly, I'm like, I got burned out, and I'm like, I'm publishing what I want on YouTube, and that stagnates growth or anything like that. But I'm happy to make that trade-off for just publishing what I want to publish.
Right.
However, that said, I will probably be doing like 10-minute videos, like 6 to 10 minutes, because that's kind of what I like to watch.
Yeah.
And
Same.
I mean, I watch long things occasionally, but it has to be someone I love, and
it has to be a subject that I'm like, I'll sit for an hour if it's a subject like, I'm basically taking a free course,
right?
You know, but or if it's like a podcast or
a
concert, sure.
But yeah, like 6 to 10 minutes is the sweet spot for me when I watch. And I've sort of, I mean, based on what I just said, where I'm like, I'll publish like a 90-minute interview.
Yeah.
And some people will really enjoy it, but not many.
And
it's for them. It's for them.
The other thing too is like, so they said that between 10 and 20 minutes is like the sweet spot for YouTube videos. And with the thing I thought about was when I used to work at a job and I was trying to get out of working at that job, I could listen to podcasts all day. I could not watch video like YouTube. Like if they caught me watching a YouTube video,
Yeah.
I'd be fired. But yeah, throw on a podcast, it's talk radio.
Yep.
You know, so you could do that all day. So I'm like, oh, I think that's why in our space, I feel podcasts are a little bit more easier.
Sure.
More easier. Because it's just because people at work, they're trying to get out of their job. They're trying to quit their job and do this full time. That's when they can learn. They can learn at work by throwing in a podcast, but they can't do it on YouTube.
And I literally did the same. I mean, I worked at home for many years, but yeah.
The same. Yeah. Plus you're working. So like how do you watch a video and work at the same I can't put on YouTube and work at the same time.
It's pretty tough. Although I got 2 screens over there. I can kind of do it now, but my boss is an asshole. Yeah. But it's me.
But it's you. Now it is. But I think like here I could put on a podcast or I could put on a video podcast, but not if it's like educating me.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm like, I got other shit to do.
Secondary thing. Okay. So you talked about a couple things that didn't go so well. I forgot to ask, what was the retention rate? So just quick.
I think it's, from last time I checked, it was like 50%.
That is amazing.
Like 40 to 50%.
That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I think it's because they're short.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to get retention rates in the 40s as I've tightened some videos up. Like I could do better, but I thought I could do it better on Brew Cabin, and I got to 65 on one video, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, sweet." That's awesome.
And it's an 11-minute. No, it's a 9-minute video, and it's like it moves,
quick.
Like it moves, it changes, yeah.
And we're going to talk about the other YouTube channels in just a second. So what's the upcoming plan for Money Lab on YouTube right now?
Definitely doing the website teardowns. Going to continue. I have 30 left in the queue, and every video, like every past video, has a link and me saying submit your video. So the queue builds. And I'm like, it's the best because I don't have to think. It just pull up what's next, and I launch. And sometimes the reaction is the best part. Like I'll pull up the video and I'm like, oh boy. Sometimes I'll look at it beforehand. You know, if I'm like, if I see the domain, I'm like, oh man. Or if I'll read their comments. I go, I should look at this before I pull it up. And so I'm going to continue doing it. I'm rebranding it as homepage improvement, which is what the title card is. So all of the thumbnails will get changed into that sort of blueprinty home improvement style. And then they'll all have some sort of indicator on the thumbnail that you're watching that series. And it's really to make room to create more series within the channel with different, and thinking about it like, oh, you might get 3 videos a week, but each video is a different format. Like it's not going to be a website teardown 3 days a week. It'll be a website teardown, something else. And then you can subscribe to playlists and have those sort of like shows within a larger channel. So it's like, imagine old school, if you could subscribe to NBC, you'd get Parks and Rec, Dirty Rock, you get those like different shows and you could watch them.
Got it.
So that's the plan. The 2 shows that so it's going to be called Homepage Improvement. That'll continue to happen. Same process and everything. And then the 2 other shows that I've come up with that I'm going to do similar. It's going to be a similar format where you see my face, with screen shares. One is going to be something about Q&A. So basically people will be able to submit questions and I'll be able to answer them. Simple. The other one that the Money Lab Pro audience came up with, and I was like, oh, and I told Steph this, and she's like, that's going to be awesome. Logo makeovers. So people can submit their website logos to me, and I will literally redesign them in 15 minutes and spruce them up, make them better, and then talk that process through.
Got it. Will it be like the photographers where you're going to put a big watermark, a Money Lab watermark? You're like, now I could sell it to you, but it's like $800.
What do you think?
Most definitely.
You think I should do that?
Put a Money Lab watermark and I'll give you the original proofs.
Yeah. Somebody said I should. I in my head, I'm like, I'll just give the person who submitted it the logo.
Yeah. I was just kidding.
Right. No,
I
right.
think you're going to, I thought you would just send him the
That's what
PNG.
I would just go, hey, I made this. If you want it, contact me and I'll send it to you. But then someone was like, dude, you should like make it a paywall for them. I'm like, that sounds like a lot of work. And I'm like, I just did it. So I did it for my content. So like, do you want it?
Right.
But then it's like, I don't want to get taken advantage of. Like, oh, like, I'm not going to get to all of them. And I'm not going to do I have 15 minutes to do a logo design. They're not all going to be gold, but I think what's more interesting is to see just hear a thought process. Like, oh, this comes in, there's a lot of context to it. Like, all right, what can let's try something different. Let's do this. It's just basically watching creativity happen on the fly. And then mixed with logo design principles that I've learned and follow with my own stuff. So same thing I do with the website Teardowns. It's just I actually do it because I feel like you can't redesign a website in 15 minutes.
Right.
But I can do a logo in 15 minutes. I've done it.
Cool. So you have 3 shows, one slightly rebranded or different programming to fit with the channel.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
That's the idea. Yeah. And soon, like next week.
Okay. And it's coming up. All right. And by the time this goes live, it will be out. So definitely, check out the channel. Yeah. So this is definitely a different strategy than you have for Swim University and Brew Cabin. So can you kind of outline what you do in those 2 different channels?
Yeah. The Swim University one is very simple. It's very streamlined as well. Takes a lot more work. But basically, we put out a video every week that's animated. And the way that works is we do a lot of research up front to find out, what keywords we need to hit. We read a lot of comments. And when I say we, I say Steph. Steph is she's 100% in control of that department. And she will go out and read comments on other people's videos, on our videos, and like just see what the questions that are coming up. And then she'll do keyword research with Ahrefs. She will look at our website and see which, if there's any gaps that need to be filled, or if there's any videos that I've done, back in, 2012 that just like, ugh, dude, you did like a 3-minute video and this sucks. Like, we're going to redo it as an animated video. So she does all that research. She comes up with a video that she wants to do. She goes out and does more research to write the script. And then she sends me the script. And I basically, at this point, I don't even read it because I just trust her to get it right. I used to have to read it because I'm the pool expert. But now I feel like she's more of an expert than me because she actually does the research. And so I am just the talent. I just do the voiceover. I put on a mic and I read it.
And do you even need to read it? I mean, like, your voice is behind the brand, but a lot of those people are just finding it through SEO. So who cares what your voice is?
So no. And we've talked about like getting me out of that process, but I'm just fast. So I'm fast. It takes me 15 minutes to record a 15-minute script or a 10-minute script or whatever. And if there's anything that goes wrong, I could do it. My personality is pretty good, and I think I'm pretty good on a microphone. So I'm like, we might as well use that talent. Plus, we still like using faces on the thumbnail, and it's my face. So just that sort of connection point. It's weird to have my face go, oh no, your pool's green, and then it's some other guy's voice or it's a woman's voice or something, So it would. I feel like it would be jarring to click that and then So that's all I do though. All I do is obviously some strategy stuff here and there, but for the most part, all I do is the voiceover, and then she gets it, takes it across the finish line, and knows the YouTube platform like inside and out. So she got us over 100,000 subscribers. We got our plaques. I mean, she got a plaque. That's her plaque. And then I ordered a second plaque to put behind, to put somewhere in the basement in my office. Just so we had 2 plaques. I don't know if I'm going to get to 100,000 with my other channels anytime soon. I was going to say, it'll
maybe I'll hit 100,000 in like 10 to 15 years.
Yeah. At this rate, no. But that one, we've been working on that one for a long time. So, and that one's a 100% SEO play.
Nice.
Like that is what we're focused. We treat it exactly the way we treat our blog. And that's the strategy there. She's an animator. We use ScreenFlow. So the animations are really simple. They're not like, we don't use After Effects or any crazy stuff. You can go and watch them. They're, it's really the content. It's not really what you see on screen.
How long are those videos typically?
We tend to do better when they're over 11 minutes.
Okay.
But we kind of, it's between 5 and 15. So like anywhere in between those numbers, depending on the topic. Some topics take a long time. Some topics are, and she knows too. Like she knows when she's writing the script and she sends it to me, she's like, this is going to be a banger. So like play it up, really push it. So she just knows it. And then when it hits, It's like,
yeah, nice.
All right. Yeah. Cause she's just very in tune with that.
Okay. Brew Cabin.
So Brew Cabin is a pet project of mine. And it is the whole idea from the very, very beginning. I talked to Thomas Frank about this and I said, I really want to do a YouTube channel for Brew Cabin. And my idea is to like basically create like miniature documentary movie, like each video I can do anything I want. Like it just can be as completely creative as possible. And I asked him, I'm like, do you think that's a stupid idea for the YouTube algorithm? Like, do you think that like that's just gonna hurt me? And he said, no, I actually think it'll help you. And I think he was right. And so each video, it's not even a process. It's just hard. It's just hard to do. And it only happens when there's an idea. And if that idea, I will have an idea. I'll be crazy about it. And I'm like, I'm going to make this happen. And yeah.
Do you have an idea for the next video?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
All right. You can tell me offline.
I don't mind. I can tell you.
Well, tease it. You don't have to give the whole thing unless you want to.
Real ale.
Okay. And if people don't know what that is, you could research it.
Yeah.
Maybe subscribe to Brew Cabin. Go check out some of the other videos. Even if you don't like home brewing, it's entertaining.
Yeah. I hear that a lot. And the thing I hear a lot too in the comments is this is the best YouTube channel. This is the best YouTube channel for home brewing I've ever seen. And it's obviously a compliment. And I'm just like, okay, if that's true, tell your friends. Cause it's
thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Really appreciate
thank you,
it.
Mom. Appreciate it. But it's funny like that. So that channel and this is my favorite metric of anything I've ever done in my life. And I think it's because it's creative. That channel has currently now 5 videos. I've had it for a year and it has over 6,000 subscribers with just and it had 4 videos up until like a week ago. And that metric makes me happy because the homebrewing industry, there's not huge channels. There's just one channel that just crossed over 100,000. And it's a good channel. But it's really hard to get to like 50,000 subscribers in the homebrewing space. Wow. And so a lot of big YouTubers, or they call them brewtubers, are like, if you're at 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, like you're a big brewtuber.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And because I know, I'm a big home brewer as well. There's actually kegs sitting around us and there's a kegerator upstairs. And the thing is, I listen to many podcasts on home brewing like 10 years ago or more than 10 years ago. And there's many more podcasts now. And I feel like those podcasts have like bigger followings than the YouTube channels. It's very interesting. And I wonder why that is. I don't know. That's what people, I don't know either. Maybe it's like when home brewing like really took off. Cause I know there's been a lull and like the craft beer movement has sort of like plateaued and or like shifted to.
True.
I mean, they're making like carbonated waters with vodka and juice in there or something.
And then hop water now is a thing.
We actually got some of the Lagunitas, like 0.5%. Like the IPNA, like the no alcohol.
Oh,
have you had that?
No.
I had like a little sip and it smells like hops. You could tell it's watered down. But it turns out I like to drink the alcohol part of it.
Sure.
And I enjoy that.
Have you had a hop water?
Not is that a specific brand or just hop water? Hops with
Hop water is a brand. Hop Lark that makes the hop tea in Boulder.
I haven't had anything like that.
Wow. Okay, it's awesome. Okay. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, for the. I mean,
it's seltzer water with hops in it.
Okay. Again, I like the alcohol, so typically I'm going to go for that.
Do you like seltzer water?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
so it's like bitter. It's bitter seltzer water.
Okay, so I think I covered most things here. Any other thoughts about your YouTube journey so far with any of the brands?
I think it's the future, and I say that because I thought it was the future like 10 years ago. When I first started doing videos for Swim University, I said it to myself. I'm like, I need to just do this because that's where I need to live as a creator of any type. I've had blogs, I've had all kinds of stuff, but the thing that I've done the longest in my life has been music and video. It's what I consume as a person. I'm not a reader whatsoever. Like I maybe at this point now read like one book a year, maybe. I'm not a podcast listener, but I do like broadcast radio, but I watch YouTube and I watch TV and I watch movies, and I'm a nerd when it comes to filmmaking. Like, it's just I love knowing what lenses like Kubrick uses in certain movies. I'm like, how did he get that shot? Or like, what is that lens? Or like, I just want to hear the story behind it. So yeah, I think YouTube is, I've heard this too. I say it at the beginning of the article that I wrote about this challenge, which is like, YouTube is, the conversion rates are fantastic because you're on a platform where you can click links, unlike a podcast, right? And you're probably sitting in front of a computer or your iPad or whatever instead of being in your car or at the gym. And you're not only listening to the person and getting their sort of personality, but you're seeing them. And the conversion rate between Google, people who are actively searching to solve a problem, and people who just watch YouTube videos, the conversion rate is identical for me as far as like people subscribing or people, or like lead generation or product sales or all that stuff. It's just like Google is just where it is. It's just where the quality traffic comes from.
Yep. So I'm going to put links for Money Lab and the specific page where you outline the experiment and all the details and everything. And of course, your YouTube channel and a couple other places. Where should people find you?
Yeah, moneylab.co.
Cool. And you're pretty active on Twitter too, right?
I'm very active on Twitter. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me today.
Appreciate it.
I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.